Eric DaCosta was one victory away from his 100th career win. Could he reach the milestone? Quinnipiac women's soccer and volleyball teams both made history this weekend. Stick with us to see how the teams fared.
Women's ice hockey analyst Tom Krasnowski joins us live in studio. And as always, we give you this week's top 5 plays. Sports Paws starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Sports Paws. It is officially October. I'm Emma Carmen.
And I'm Liz Flynn. Emma, we have a packed show tonight, so let's get right into it.
Continuing our coverage of the Quinnipiac men's lacrosse team suspension, men's lacrosse beat reporter Chris Dacey reached out to the Sacred Heart Athletics in regards to this week's scheduled scrimmage between the Bobcats and the Big Red. Dacey tweeted out, quote, "Sacred Heart Athletics tells me that the upcoming scrimmage with the Quinnipiac men's lacrosse team has been canceled. It was scheduled for October 5th. The Quinnipiac men's lacrosse team is under investigation for alleged student code of conduct violations," end quote. Stay with Q30 Sports for more developments on this story as we get them. The women's soccer team took on Iona and Niagara this past week and have officially secured first place in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Let's see how they fared against Iona this past Wednesday right here in Hampden. In the first half, not many serious chances. Both goaltenders were holding very strong. There was a great ball from number 22, Madison Barowick, right over there to Kelsey Goldring, but the goalie for the Gales made a great diving stop. We're going to roll right into the second half where all the action began for Quinnipiac and Iona. The Bobcats had a couple opportunities here, but the shots were deflected by the Gales defense. Kelsey Goldring has another shot, but Iona was right in the way to stop the ball, and she shoots it in the back of the net, and Quinnipiac scores the first goal of the game to put them up 1-0. Great crossover here to number 13, Al Pelletier, where she hits the far left goalpost. Take a look at that, inches away from the scoring. The Bobcats, less than 1 minute later, Pelletier, MAC Offensive Player of the Week, had another chance and scores, making it 2-0 Quinnipiac. The Bobcats went on to defeat the Gales with a final score of 2-1.
The team then took on Niagara this past Saturday, a team they've never beaten on the road. Let's take a look at the action. In the first half here, we have a shot by Jess Gargan that rolls right in front of the box where Madison Barowick is denied, but Al Pelletier picks up the loose rebound and scores the first goal of the game for the Bobcats. That would be all for the first half, so now we're going to go right into the second half where we have more action. Olivia Myshevsky flies out of the box to make a save, but Niagara cannot connect on the rebound and sends the ball flying. Now Ali Grunstein will get the ball here and take a shot that is saved, but Madison Barowick gets the header to give the Bobcats a 2-0 lead. 2 minutes later, Quinnipiac is going to rip one right off the hands of the goaltender, and that is a goal for Ali Grunstein, and that is 3-0 Bobcats. And then Niagara will attempt to take another shot, but right into the hands of Olivia Myshevsky. The Bobcats go on to win this game 3-0, and Olivia Myshevsky earns her third shutout in conference play this season. Our player spotlight is Al Pelletier, who has racked up 3 goals and 1 assist on the season, 2 straight game-winning goals, and she was ranked second on the team last year with 19 points. Pelletier is also the MAC Soccer Offensive Player of the Week.
As we take a look at the standings, you can see that Quinnipiac is in first with a record of 3-0-1 and have 10 points overall. Monmouth, Marist, Niagara, and Ryder round out the top 5. The Bobcats' next conference game is this Wednesday against the St. Peter's Peacocks here in Hampden.
Volleyball season is in full swing, so let's take it to the courts to see how the Bobcats fared against defending MAC champions Fairfield.
The Bobcats joined the MAC in 2013, and the Stags have been MAC champions these past 3 years. The Bobcats ended up having to play 5 matches against the Stags. Fairfield has not lost a game in 2 seasons and continues that streak.
The Quinnipiac volleyball team took a 33-minute road trip down to Fairfield University and faced a Stags team that hasn't lost a conference match since 2015.
They're battle tested. You know, they have a great coach with Todd, and They know how to win. You know, they've been doing it for a while. They're at the top of the conference every single year for a reason.
The Bobcats, who have never won a match against Fairfield since joining the MAC, won the first 2 games, putting the Stags' 51 conference match winning streak in jeopardy.
Our freshmen played out of their minds. I thought everybody put in a great effort in general. You know, we looked great through 2.5 sets, and I thought everybody did their job.
The Stags turned things around in the 3rd game. Lucy Albertson and Sydney Williams each made several offensive plays. The Stags ended the 4th set with 1, 2, 3 straight blocks. The Bobcats were dominated by the Stags in the 5th game, losing 15-6. Despite blowing a 2-set lead to the Fairfield Stags, Chris Saplinski said that the Bobcats have been steadily increasing ever since the first match of the season.
We're getting better and better. We're learning how to fight a little bit more. You know, if this happened in the beginning of the season, I don't know. We'll put it this way. We are always good for one game no matter what, and the fact that we put 2.5 together right away I thought was very good, and we had the chance to take that 3rd game. I believe it was 21-18 in that 3rd game, and then we had a couple errors and it kind of just swung their way.
Quinnipiac finds itself under 500 in conference play while the Stags extend their conference win streak to 52. Reporting from George Basaka Court, I'm Mike Dalton, Q30 Sports.
Looking at the standings here for MAC women's volleyball. We have Fairfield rounding up the top, followed by Marist, Iona, Canisius, Ryder, Niagara, and then Quinnipiac is in 7th with a record of 2-3, and Fairfield, no surprise, has a 6-game win streak on the season. Now moving into rugby, the women's rugby team picked up their 2nd win of the season on Saturday, defeating NIRA rival Notre Dame and breaking the Falcons' 2-game win streak. 5 Bobcats scored, including captain Mika Maples, who continues to dominate this season with a 4-game scoring streak. Roscoff and Vela both scored 1 try in the victory.
Talking about Maples, we have senior rugby player live in studio with Q30's own John Surratt. John, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Mika, thank you for coming on the show tonight. First, you guys started out the year 0-2, and what made you guys rebound to get these wins in the past 2 games?
I mean, we've been working really hard in practice. Our kind of motto is kind of trusting the process and loving the process and taking the game at a time, and I think that we've been doing that this season. We started out with a tough loss to Harvard and Dartmouth, but I think we played really well, so I'm definitely not upset about that.
Okay. So what do you think has really been the one thing that hasn't led you guys to your peak so far this season?
I think that since we're so young, we still haven't really gotten to know each other and how each other plays. I think that once we kind of connect with that, I think that we'll be one of the better teams this year.
Okay. You guys lost a lot of players last year to graduation.
For sure.
They really made an impact for the team. How do you, as a captain this year, how have you led the team so far this year to help them?
I try to lead by example, trying to get the freshmen to kind of pick up the spots that were left from the seniors who left last year, which was a big spot to fill. And I think that they've done a great job so far. So I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, that's really good. So you guys are playing Harvard Saturday, and you lost to them previous in game number 2. What do you think is going to be the new game plan going into the game this Saturday?
I think we're just going to try to keep on playing just as how we play, try to keep our shape. Our forwards have been working really hard. Our backs, we've been working really hard. So I think that we're just going to try to play our game and see what we've got.
All right. And you won 2 NIRA championships as junior. The team's won 3 in a row. So what do you think the chances are for the team to win 4 in a row this year?
We haven't really looked at that yet. Like I said, we just trying to take it game by game. I think it'd be incredible to win a 4th one, but we're going to look at Harvard this week and see what we can do there first.
Yeah, wish you best luck. Thanks, Mika. Throw it back to the desk.
Thanks so much, John. Time flies when you're having fun. When we come back, find out more about this week's Twitter poll.
And we will have a special guest to talk more about the beginning of the women's ice hockey team. Stick with us.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Qcash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
Let's get it going. Sports Paws starts right now.
We start tonight with some basketball coverage.
And here again, Aaron Robinson hits the shot of his life. I don't know what that celebration is, MJ, but I'm loving it.
Is that Fortnite?
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. The women's ice hockey team took on The Ohio State University this past Friday and Saturday at the People's United Center.
And here with us is Q30's own beat reporter for the women's team, Tom Krasnowski. Tom, how are you?
I'm doing great. Ready to talk some women's ice hockey. There sure is a lot to discuss after this first weekend.
Absolutely. The women's ice hockey team has 6 newcomers this season. 4 from Canada, 1 is from Minnesota, and 1 is from Connecticut.
As you take a look here, Liz, you can see that they have a couple defensemen, a couple forwards, and a great new goaltender for them. So we're going to head right into Game 1, where Quinnipiac takes on number 7 Ohio State to open its season up. Ohio State leads 1-0 after the second period, so we'll head right into the third period, where Sarah Ev Katu-Gadbu sends the puck right into the back of the net right there to Taylor House, which ties up the game with that goal. Gabby Rosenthal will then, look at that celebration there. Gabby Rosenthal lifts the puck right over up to the neutral zone right here and knocks over goaltender Abby Ives. Look at that, Tom.
Yeah, it was almost goalie interference, but no, the shot was made before the contact, and they let Ives make the save, but she just could not come up with that one.
Puts the Buckeyes up 2-1. Here you can see them racing down the ice, and another shot in the 5-hole there on Abby Ives. 3-1 Ohio State.
Yeah, I bet Ives would want to have that one back in all likelihood. That would almost prove to be the dagger for Quinnipiac, but let's see.
Katu-Gadbu again sends the puck to the front of the net where it finds Randy Marcon, who taps home the puck for her first goal of the year. Final score 3-2 Ohio State. Cass Turner postgame on her team's power play.
Not bad for the first weekend. I think we didn't have a breakout. I think created some good looks. Like, I think they gained confidence in what those looks looked like. You're not always going to score. And clearly went 0 for 4, but I thought we had some good chances. And I think with a couple little things that could be different, I think we're going to put that puck in the back of the net.
We are not done yet. Let's take a look at how the Bobcats did on Saturday afternoon against the Buckeyes. Second period, Ohio State's in the Quinnipiac zone, and a pass to Olivia soars in front, but goes off the crossbar. Let's rewind and take a closer look. Tom, what do you see there?
Well, at first it looked like this shot just ping up the crossbar, but you see right there, it did cross the goal line, went in and out so quick, it counts as a goal.
Later in the second period, the puck is loose. Melissa Samaskevich forces a turnover and a breakaway and finishes nicely. We have a tie game in Hamden. Heading into the third period now, after a great celebration there, Ohio State's up 2-1 and on the power play. Great passing leads to a great shot, And Tatum Skaggs in a nice backdoor finish. The Buckeyes now lead 3-2.
Just in the right place at the right time. Man advantage, capitalized for the
Absolutely.
Buckeyes.
Late in the third period, Samoskevich is down low and throws a shot on goal that squeaks right through the pads, and the Bobcats pull within one. Another celebration as they're getting closer, and late extra skater for Quinnipiac, but they can't get anything going, and Ohio State will go on to win this 3-2, earning them a weekend sweep.
Quinnipiac freshman Lexi Odzija was honored earlier today with ECAC Hockey Rookie of the Week. She joins alumni Emma Woods as being the only other Bobcat to win this honor after her first weekend of college hockey. Odzija tallied a pair of points for Bobcats with a pair of assists this past weekend against Ohio State. She fired 9 shots on goal, with 7 of them being in Game 2.
Tom, you've seen the highlights, so let's talk a little bit about the Bobcats' start to the season.
Absolutely. So I love that they took on a tough out-of-conference team to get things started at number 7, Ohio State. It's a good challenge, and really they only lost by 1 goal twice to these teams. They're really close games, so there's a lot of positives to take away from this one. I'm sure they would have loved to get the win too, though.
Tom, is there anything that you're really concerned with this slow start, like starting 0-2 against a team as big as Ohio State?
I'm not concerned with the slow start because, again, Ohio State is a top-notch program. They went to the Frozen Four last year for the first time in program history. That's not an excuse for why they lost, but I also think if this game happened in mid-season when they had more time to fine-tune things and get things, you know, the way that it should be rolling down in December and January, I think they would have corrected on some of those mistakes. They went 0-for-8 in the power play. That's not going to keep happening as the season goes on. I think the little things are going to get corrected, and Quinnipiac's going to get back on track. There's some positives to take away.
So now the season's just started, but who are some freshmen that are already beginning to make a name for themselves on this team?
Yeah, so last year there were 7 great freshmen on the team, and Brooke Bonsteel is second on the team in goals. Allison Small is a really dependable goalie that could probably start for a couple of different teams. They had some big shoes to fill. You mentioned Lexi Odzija, and she was the Rookie of the Week. 7 shots on goal in Game 2. We were calling the game, and we said her name a ton, and that's a great compliment for a player. I mean, she's always on the puck. And then defensively, Courtney Vorster and Zoe Boyd stand out to me because they're able to pinch in on the offensive rush when they want to, but they also weren't overmatched on defense either. There's sometimes some growing pains with young players on D, but they look good so far.
So now what are your predictions for this upcoming weekend against Maine?
So this is actually Maine's season opener, and Quinnipiac's going to be in their 3rd and 4th games of the year, and I think that helps them. I think Quinnipiac, with the experience of that plus the exhibition game, I think they're going to get that win as they start to round into form at home here. I think they're going to split the series, though, because Maine is a very good team. 3rd in Hockey East last year, and they're projected to finish 3rd again this year, a program record. So I do think Maine takes one of them, but Quinnipiac will get that first win.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us. Now we head back to the fields. The men's soccer team traveled to Buffalo last Wednesday to take on Canisius in their first MAC contest of the season and came out victorious. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. We start here in the first half with a pass from Rashawn Daly to Eamon Whalen, but he's blocked. Paulo Suarez gets the rebound for his first career goal, and Quinnipiac is up 1-0. 7 minutes later, Simon Hillinger feeds Rashawn Daly, who nudges the ball in past Canisius goalie. That's 2-0 Quinnipiac. Into the second half now on Canisius' side. Hunter Walsh rips one past Jared Mazzola to pull the Golden Griffins within 1. Rashawn Daly again in action gives the ball to Matthew Taylor, who shoots the top right of the goal and scores. Quinnipiac leads 3-1. Quick play here, the Bobcats have possession, and Eamon Whalen makes a nice move to back kick the ball in and add to Quinnipiac's lead. They go on to win 4-1.
Everyone's favorite social media platform, Twitter, to check out this week's poll. We asked, where do you think that Quinnipiac men's soccer will finish in the MAC this season? They are currently 1-0 and were predicted to be 4th in the preseason coaches poll. The results came back here that most of everyone thinks that it's going to around 70% think 2nd to 3rd place, while you can see that 23% people think top of the table. So currently, a lot of the people who participate in this poll believe that they will end up higher in the end of the season rather than the preseason. But when we come back, we have another analyst segment in your favorite time of the night, Top 5 Plays. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, and tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Qcash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
If you like debate, that's a converted relief pitcher making the start because it was a doubleheader. You got no hit by a relief pitcher. You can't tell me that's not embarrassing. Analysis.
You can see his stance, his positioning right there is excellent.
And a side of entertainment.
Is he right or is he crazy? Well, we all know the answer to that. He's a bit crazy, but I gotta say, you know.
Then join us on Bobcat Breakdown.
From the court to the ice to here on the diamond, we'll discuss everything you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics.
Bobcat Breakdown, Tuesdays at 9:30.
From Hamden to Hollywood, we are your source for entertainment news.
Whether you're on the pod in your room
or off campus,
tune in to Q30 News for stories from student journalists you can trust.
We're covering the latest here on campus and in the surrounding communities.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Emma, we still have a lot to cover. What's next?
So Quinnipiac traveled to number 20 Liberty this past Friday in Virginia. Our own Brian Schwartz made a prediction last week on this game and what he thought would have it happen. Let's take a look.
Quinnipiac will always have a shot. There's one thing to never doubt about this team. They will always be prepared and focused. And that comes right down from the head coach. My prediction, a pretty close one, Liberty 4, Quinnipiac 2.
Brian correctly predicted a Liberty victory, but unfortunately for the Bobcats, the goal difference was more than 2. The Flames defeated Quinnipiac 8-1, with Maroney and O'Keefe leading the way with 2 goals apiece. Liberty totaled 32 shots compared to Quinnipiac's low 9. Brooke Whipkey scored the lone goal for Quinnipiac.
Now, if you take a look at the Big East standings, you can see that Quinnipiac is currently in 6th with a conference record of 1-2. Both UConn and Liberty are undefeated in the Big East. The Quinnipiac Bobcats take on the Villanova Wildcats this Friday, October 5th in Pennsylvania for their next conference game.
Now we bring in another analyst, but this time we have Josh Silverman in to discuss the women's field hockey team. Josh, how are you doing this evening?
You know, guys, I'm just happy to be here with you. Liz, happy to see you on the desk, ready to talk some field hockey.
Absolutely. So, is this team progressing the way they should be?
You know, it's tough because they've scheduled such a tough out-of-conference schedule, and the beginning of their conference schedule was really tough. So, you know, you might look at the record and be like, well, this team isn't progressing the way they should be, but I've mentioned it, I think, every time I've come on air. 12 of the 24 players on the team are new players, so it's going to take time to gel. Hannah Teicher's been doing great in goal. Nina Klein's been working with her. She's one of the best goalies to ever do it. She's now a coach here helping Hannah, and head coach Becca Main says she has total faith in Hannah Teicher, and the rest of the team, just the passes look crisper than they did earlier in the season. So the team is progressing. The record just might not show it, but that should change later on in the season.
So Josh, they have 4 Big East games left in their season. What do you specifically think that they need to improve on?
Well, Emma, you know, I believe defenses win championships, but at some point you do have to score goals. In the last 4 games, they only have 4 goals in their last 2 games. 5 games this year, they either have 1 goal or didn't score at all. So, a lot of that is due to the out-of-conference schedule and the tough conference schedule to start. But at a certain point, you know, these excuses have to stop, and they need to get on the scoreboard in order to improve and win some more games.
Are you worried about the recent 2 losses against UMass Lowell and Liberty?
You know, I couldn't be less worried. One of them was an out-of-conference game, so just throw that out. The other one is against Liberty, the 20th in the country, picked to finish 2nd in the Big East preseason coaches poll with 1 vote for first place over UConn. I mean, I'm not worried at all. They've lost to the 2 best teams in the conference, okay? So I'm not worried at all. The only thing I am worried about is that they're going to lose confidence going forward when the schedule gets easier in conference play.
And last but not least, do you still think they make the Big East tournament?
You know what, I do. They play Villanova this Friday. That's a win. Villanova is picked to finish second to last in the preseason poll. Then they play Providence. Now, Providence was picked to finish fourth, and that is the big game because only the top 4 teams in the conference make the tournament. So I think they beat Villanova this Friday, then beat Providence next Friday. Then that's enough wins, I think, for them to be playing field hockey in November.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Josh.
Of course.
The women's tennis team traveled to New York last weekend for the West Point Invite. On day 1, the team combined to win 8 of 10 singles matches. And on day 2, Quinnipiac doubles reached the semifinal round before their eventual elimination.
So now we will roll into this afternoon, Quinnipiac men's basketball. Yep, you heard that right. Basketball had their first media day where Q30's own Brian Schwartz spoke to the team about year 2 of the Baker Dunleavy era.
Practice is underway in week 1 here at the People's United Center in Hamden, Connecticut, as Quinnipiac men's basketball begins year 2 in the Baker Dunleavy era. Also year 2 for Jacob Brigoni and Rich Kelly.
It's exciting to be back here. You feel everyone's excited to work hard, get after it. We've got a new team this year and we're excited for the opportunities ahead.
Having a lot of fun, a lot of new guys, but just kind of gelling and getting some chemistry.
Rich is one of those guys that he's a sophomore based on class, but he's played a lot of minutes. Started a lot of games for a freshman. So I think you can take it up in terms of just being a vocal leader, and then really defensively, just being a little bit more of a pest on the ball, being able to give more of his energy to that side of the ball. A, because he knows what he's doing, and B, because we won't have to play him quite as many minutes, we can get him more of a rest.
I think I just kind of understand where I need to improve. Actually, I was kind of just going in blind, not knowing what to expect. But now I have understanding of what I have to do to be the player I want to be, and just working towards that every day.
Getting reps at practice and then working on my body in the gym, keep working at my athleticism and what kind of shape I'm in.
But taking the next step as a defender, and then trying to expand his game, always valuing his shot, but then knowing as teams take away his shot how he can contribute offensively.
Coming off a MAC tournament semifinal loss, is there a goal for the Bobcats this season? Coach Dunleavy says, no, not really.
I think it was a strength of our team last year, is that we were able to stay focused in the moment. And even though towards the end of the year we lost a bunch of games down the stretch, we were playing really well. And we kept coming back to practice and getting better. And if you're panicked because you didn't reach your goal of wins, then you don't get better. And so we have a young group in terms of age and experience. So this group is just going to have the same goal in a different way, just be our best at the end of the year, kind of put our blinders on.
Just over a month of practice left before the first game against Villanova for the Quinnipiac Bobcats. Year 2 of this new era for Quinnipiac begins shortly. From the People's United Center, Brian Schwartz, Q30 Sports.
Liz, it is officially that time. I'll take the odds and you can take the evens. Let's get started. For play number 5, we go back to the Frank Perotti Jr. Arena, where we can see Captain Melissa Samaskevich skating past 2 Buckeyes and putting an absolute ripper in the back of the net. Quinnipiac ends up falling to Ohio State with a final score of 3-2.
Number 4, sticking to women's hockey, Taylor House pokes in a goal after some chaos in front of the net. The Bobcats once again fell to Ohio State 3-2.
Now we'll head over to the volleyball court, where Fairfield has a linger over the net and is absolutely smashed down by number 10 Morgan Sherwin. The Bobcats go on to lose 3-2.
Number 2 brings us to the soccer fields, where a shot by Ali Grunstein is headed in by Madison Barowick. Quinnipiac shut out Niagara 3-0.
And the number 1 play is back to the ice, where Gabby Rosenthal passes to number 21 Liz Sheppers, and she takes the puck all the way down the ice to take out the goalie Abby Ives. The Buckeyes defeated the Bobcats with a final score of 3-2.
We have a lot coming up this weekend, and that's how fast time goes. So let's take a look at the game slate for this weekend. We have hockey in Hamden, women's ice hockey versus Maine Friday and Saturday, and men's hockey exhibition game on Saturday, October 6th.
Be sure to check out all of our great content at Q30television.com and follow us on Twitter at Q30Sports and at Q30Television. I'm Emma Carmen.
And I'm Liz Flynn. See you next week. Have a wonderful night.